But
screw you and her.
I mean, bruh.
How about that? How about that?
Let's be honest. Like just like I said, if people judge you if you pull out that black card and they all on your
But and you can be a piece of shit, and you could be a piece of shit that's gonna goddamn rape her in the car later that night. Like that doesn't mean anything. Like we're talking about, was the date paid for? Yes or no?
I agree there.
Then what I'm saying, are we talking?
What we're talking
she's stupid
about
and you're stupid. What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I am Tavares Ferguson, aka Ferg, joined my co-host Rozzy and Buff. Fellas, tell them what's in your mind.
Transformers, Rise of the Beast is coming out. We were just talking about it before we started. I'm excited about it. I go see it tomorrow. I know, we talked about it a little bit last week, but I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be really, really good, man. The kids are super excited. We have hit the movies every weekend for the last 2 weeks. This will be 3 weeks in a row that we went to the movies. So just kind of thinking through that, man, the movie theater is back and it's been packed out and they're hitting numbers and everything. So people were talking about the movies were going to be dead post-COVID and everything. And that was a lie, man. We're back at it and the movie theater's back up. So, those folks that invested in AMC when it was down, smart move, because I think AMC is going to pull through. So that, and speaking of investing, your boy Dave Ramsey, I don't know if y'all heard about that, but Dave Ramsey's being sued for $150 million. He endorsed a get out of timeshare type of company or whatever, told a bunch of people to do it. Those folks got took for their money, and so they're suing him for the $150 million in damages because he was just endorsing a bad company. But go ahead, Bert.
So was he endorsing timeshares or the companies that try to get out of timeshares?
The companies that get you out of timeshares. And what was happening was they were taking a lot of people's money and not getting them out of the timeshare because it'll be they'll be like, oh well, send us $5,000, $6,000, and you have to do all this paperwork within the next 60, 90 days or whatever. And if you don't, then we keep the $5,000. And so a lot of people were doing it, wouldn't get the paperwork in, or they'd send it in and they'd say, well, that's not enough, send us something else. And they just string them along, but never really do anything. And then, just keep the people's $5,000 and not get them out of the timeshare. So they've got a really good case. He's probably going to lose and have to pay it out. It's a drop in the bucket for him, though. I mean, he's rich on top of rich on top of rich, telling people to cut up credit cards and stuff like that, which folks don't do that. Don't be cutting up your credit cards. If you have a credit card, don't close it because that's going to shorten your credit file. Just keep it open if you can. Keep a zero balance on and keep it open, but don't close that credit card because it's going to hurt your credit score. So
he's telling them to cut it up when they have a zero balance?
Yeah. He's telling them to cut it up and close it. Like, Dave Ramsey is all about cash for everything. And I get it for the folks that just can't use credit or whatever. I tell everybody, Dave Ramsey is the blocking and tackling of financial management, right? It's like, you gotta learn how to live within your means. And that's why cash makes sense, right? Same thing with a credit card. I use my credit card for everything, but I pay my credit card off at the end of every month. And if you can't do that, if you're using more than what you can pay off, then you shouldn't be using a credit card. You should be using cash, right? And so that you can know when to stop. So I get what he's trying to say. It definitely works for those folks that just can't keep up with credit, but you just are never going to be able to leverage your money like you want to get bigger things, to be able to kind of use debt to your advantage. Use credit cards so you can get reward points and travel for free with reward points. There's so much more you can do with good financial management with debt, but he teaches no debt whatsoever, yada, yada, yada. And that holds people back from actually advancing to higher levels of financial management. But for the general masses that need it, I get it. It makes sense for them. So I'm not completely against Dave Ramsey, but I don't like it as a financial planner, because a lot of people take his advice and won't go to the next step. They'll just stop right there.
Ain't nothing going on up here, man. We just trying to breathe. You know what I mean?
Blame Canada.
Our skies up here looking orange and whatnot, thanks to Canada. So it was looking real bad in New York yesterday, and then it came here, and it's just traveling south, man. So, but no, it's serious. Like I've read reports that you need to have a mask on outside, because if you inhale enough of it, it can like pierce your lungs. That didn't stop me from seeing people outside jogging or riding their bike and stuff. Like people really don't listen, I guess, or care about the lives.
We survived COVID.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all that's going on up here, man. We just trying to breathe, bro.
No politics. Okay.
I mean,
are we shut down? Or did we shut down?
No. We passed the debt ceiling.
That's what I wanted to get to.
Passed the debt ceiling. Chris Christie, Mike Pence. I think we already mentioned Tim Scott, that they jumped in the presidential race officially to go against your boy, who also got indicted again. He got indicted again.
I thought he was about to get indicted.
I think it's official now, if I'm not mistaken. I know he announced it, but I didn't even see what it was for, to be honest. Or did I? Maybe I forgot. But yeah, he's indicted again.
So many. It's a list of things he could be indicted for. You know.
So my question is kind of political too. So we'll get to more politics.
That's so bad though that he gets indicted and we don't even notice it or care. That's how bad his reputation in history is. It's just like, he got indicted again, and keep talking like it's not a big deal that a past president's being indicted. Like,
I mean, Bill Clinton just got a little ahead, and we talked about that more than Trump's indictments.
Yeah, we talked about Obama's suit probably more.
We talked about it. Yes.
That man had the audacity to wear a tan suit.
Yep, I'm wearing a tan suit on Saturday. I got a formal event I got to go to for all the scholarship donors at UA, and so I'm gonna be down there with the scholarship recipient and all that stuff, mingling and hobnobbing, and I'm wearing tan just to stand out, see what happens.
Yeah, man.
That's not appropriate.
It probably isn't, but man.
Is it tailored? Is it tailored to you and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's the first thing I do when I buy a suit is get it tailored. Shout out to Marlena. So if you need any type of tailoring, it's called just in time tailoring. She comes to you, you give her a call, she comes to you, she'll measure you, take your suits away. 2-3 days later, she drops them back off to you. Awesome. It's the best tailoring that you can find. So if you're in Birmingham area, shout her out. Just in time tailoring.
She's a beast with custom shoes too, by the way. Custom designer shoes, by the way.
Yep.
Sneakers.
Once again, I want to shout out to all the graduating seniors, because we are in graduation season. We just finished up graduations in Houston. I mean, I've been to several graduations over the last few weeks, and we started having young men, I won't call them kids anymore, start to leave for college as early as Wednesday. So it just made me think about, when we all left for college or left home, like officially for the first time and moved away, so we probably had people praying for us and all that stuff. So praying for all these young men and women who are entering this next stage of their life. Do you remember how you guys felt when y'all left home for the first time?
I felt good, but until I hit MEPS and the drill sergeant started yelling at me to get on the bus. So
you went to MEPS first?
Yeah, you go to Montgomery, you go to MEPS.
Montgomery.
Yeah, you go to MEPS and you get on the bus from MEPS to your drill.
Your basic training
station. Because you have to in process at MEPS. No, we didn't. Yeah, you go to MEPS first. That's the first thing you have to do.
No, I went straight from Houston to Jackson.
You
did because you still had. You had to because you still were underage.
Oh no! So Basic training, AIT. AIT. I'm talking about. I was thinking basic training. It's the first time I left home anyway, so I know that's a little different because we left home during junior year. But yeah, that was. You know, you got to think about that's the first time leaving home. Even at junior year, between junior year, you're leaving home for 10 weeks. So the whole summer you're gone.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't feel like we went to Jackson. I feel like we went straight to. You might be right.
Yeah, because that's what you do at MEPS. You get sworn in. They do all the medical stuff, all that, and then they send you off to basic training. You couldn't do that before then. You go up to MEPS once for like to get your job and all that stuff, and you come back, and then you actually do your in processing. You go to MEPS that last time to leave out.
No, that was MEPS.
Or was it?
You know
that
what?
was MEPS.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right, because that's what I meant. I met my basic training girlfriend at MEPS.
Yeah. Usually that's what happens.
You're right.
Yep.
Yeah, I met my basic training girlfriend at MEPS. I'm sorry. I stand corrected, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. But you know, I just remember that. What about you, Buff? So
my leaving home was delayed. Even when I left home, I came up here with my aunt, so I didn't truly leave until I went off to what's equivalent to basic training for y'all for Capitol Police.
But you still were like what, 24?
23 when I left.
Yeah, so I mean, still young. I mean, to be home. And then think about at 23 what you really knew or didn't know, right?
Yeah.
You know, to be entering that stage in your life, and then soon thereafter have this woman follow you and have to step up. Like when I left, I ain't have no responsibilities. Mm-hmm. 23, I was the least responsible person you knew. You. Not too long after, you had Tabitha coming behind you and pushing you, I think, probably to mature faster. Like there was a certain level of expectation and you had to mature. Me, not so much. So yeah, MEPS, you know, basic training, I think that's what it might have been. For us, I don't think it was as difficult because we had like small transitions. You know, junior summer you go off and you knew you were going back home. Because I knew there were people who were at basic that cried themselves asleep at night because that was the first time away from home. But for them, they were leaving home the same way we were leaving from college. You know. Yeah, because
they were going to go to AIT and they were going to active duty. They were going to hit a duty station. Yeah.
Yeah. Which for me, I didn't get. I'm like, this is like, I always wanted to go to summer camp. I remember growing up in the 80s and they had all those summer camp movies and stuff that seemed so cool that I was too broke to go to. So this was free summer camp and they paid me. So what I was just saying is best of luck to all the young men and women going off to their futures. So just not college. I'm glad we brought up that to people going off to pursue other degrees, other careers, other freaking things like the military. Best of luck. We'll be praying for you guys. You're the future. Outside of speaking of the future, where's young Sophia?
She's around here somewhere. Let me go grab her.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Building a portfolio with Fidelity Basket Portfolios is kind of like making a sandwich. It's as simple as picking your stocks and ETFs, sort of like your meats and other toppings, and managing it as one big, juicy investment. Now that's pretty good. Learn more at fidelity.com/baskets. Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
You got your joke?
No.
Sophie, we do this every week. I need you to be on it.
No.
You knew. She literally came in like 15 minutes ago and talked about her joke.
No.
I expect more from you at this point. You're part of the show.
Nah.
You gotta prep, Sophie.
I mean, you're pretty much on every week we're on. How many shows have we done so far, fellas?
It's like almost 100.
We're closing in on 200. Yeah.
So, Sophie, you've probably been on 160 shows.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
You can put that on your resume when you go off to college. Part of a podcast, a nationally syndicated podcast, or something like that. Unless your dad gets you canceled.
Okay, I got a joke. He had to find it.
I have an answer.
No, you don't. What do you call a snake that's exactly 3.14 meters long? A python.
I didn't know it had something to do with pie.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give you guys enough time to figure it out. If you guys figure it out, I'm gonna be sad.
That was a good one.
Okay.
That was a good one.
And I didn't
Kind
even
of
come
cheating
up.
now that you don't give us enough time to think about it.
Right.
What do you mean it's not cheating?
Yeah, I mean, you
She's
asked
getting
a
her
joke and
timing
we don't
right.
get a chance to answer.
Yeah, if I wait too long, then people get bored.
I'll take your word for it because you're the resident comedian. Because
Yeah.
we know who doesn't have the timing down. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, we're not going to say any names.
Get on.
Alrighty. And we're back. Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast where it's question time. And you know what that means? When we hear the questions, you hear the questions. So to all our listeners, especially our Inspire You on Air listeners, hope you're ready for this. I feel like we're about to have a good show. Who's up first?
I can go if y'all want me to. All right. So saw this post going around. You guys know I love to spark up controversy based off of social media posts. And I said, okay, so how y'all feel about a man taking you out on a date and he pay with a Cash App card? And so the comments went into shambles and all that stuff. So I want you guys, we always talk about what guys can't do and everything like that. I want your opinions and thoughts on, women or people judging folks off of kind of what debit card they use, if they got a Chime or, Cash App card or something like that. Is that something to pause about?
We talk about TV shows a lot on this show. We talked about The Wire, Game of Thrones, a lot of great shows where sometimes, like Game of Thrones, for instance, we consider that a phenomenal show. And then towards the end, it got kind of bad. Right?
Yeah.
That's what these discussions on social media have turned into. Years ago, I feel like maybe we had some great topics. We had some great discussions. People were catching up with one another for the first time again, reuniting, catching up, having discussions, and it was good. Clearly, we ran out of shit. Because I don't even know why this is even is it considered like an EBT card or something? Like I'm lost on this one. What is so bad about a Cash App card? Like, help me out on that.
What were the comments?
That's a good question.
Not following.
Yeah, that's a good question. What were the comments?
So some of the people were talking about, no, they wouldn't date, or they'll question it because, that just means that person is not with a financial institution. So how are they making their money? What are they making their money? If you're using a Cash App card, then you might not have a stable job. You might not be financially responsible, blah, 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 blah. So that's what women were saying, that if a guy pays with that card, it makes her question, like. And so that's why the chick was asking. He was like, if he does that, what are you doing? So that's really kind of what a lot of it was talking about.
Maybe that's a little more fair. Okay, that's fair. I don't know. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is even a discussion. I don't know why this is if it's like a first date and he's paying for the dinner, I still don't see what's your concern if you guys are just getting to know one another. Now, if you're considering, like, if this is your guy, this is your dude, you guys have entered a relationship, then maybe you want to ask that type of question, because I think Cash App, you can only keep so much in there at a time, right? Yeah, it's not like a real bank institution. So I can, as far as like going forward and having a future, I can see that being like, okay, so what's going on with your financial status? But that's the type of stuff you find out during the relationship or during the dating phase or whatever. But the little post that I saw as I scrolled right past it, I thought it said like, how do you feel about a guy paying for the dinner? So I just assume it's just two people, they met somewhere, decided to go out. I don't see why you would have a problem with that. Now, if you're thinking about entering a relationship with this person, then maybe. I guess I can see that.
Maybe I missed the question because I'm still like trying to understand why this is anybody's business. It's like me catching an Uber to a first date. Is oh, this nigga catching an Uber. Right. He must not have a license. He must not have a car. Right. I don't.
Because for like she shouldn't automatically eliminate him because he may have.
She should. She should.
No, he may have.
She should.
He may have
because
an account.
He needs to avoid her.
He may have an account with a financial institution, but that Cash App card may be the card he uses for dating purposes only. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I use for dating. I keep my bills and my savings separate from my dating. You know what I mean? So, but you jump into conclusions and missed out on it, brother.
That's exactly what I end up where I end up going with this is, you know what? I'm not even going there. It doesn't matter why. He could be fiscally responsible and saying, hey, this is my splurge money. It's almost like a gift card where this is the money I take. I'm saving to buy a house. I'm investing. I do this. I keep my splurge money. It might be my investment. It might be money I make off of doing something else. Maybe I have a business on the side and I use this just to date, because I use my finances for other stuff. I don't think anybody's ever looked at what card I pulled out. Like, is it not a card? Is it on the? They may electronic?
But I mean, it's no different than somebody pulling out a black card. Somebody pull out an Amex Centurion, or somebody pull out, like it matters to certain people what kind of cards you pull out. Let's be honest here, because that's so my answer is probably gonna piss some people off, because I do understand what she's saying. Like I don't think she should like cut dude off, but
screw you and her.
I mean, bruh.
How about that?
How about that? Let's be honest. Like, just like I said, if people judge you if you pull out that black card and they all on your
but and you could be a piece of shit, and you could be a piece of shit that's gonna goddamn rape her in the car later that night. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, we're talking about, was the date paid for? Yes or no?
I agree there.
Then what the fuck are we talking?
We're talking about what we're talking
she's
about.
Stupid and you're stupid.
No,
for this.
No, listen. The thing about it is, I'm not saying she should cut him off, but just like Byron said, I do think that's something that you should look at, and maybe that is a conversation to have. I don't know if it's the first date conversation, a second or third date. Maybe you pay attention to it. Does he pay again? Hey, I see that. Let's talk about it. Because when that's probably the better question then is, when does finances come up in a relationship, right? Like, at some point we got to have this conversation. And at what point am I going to bring up, yo, my guy, do you have a bank account? Like, how do you make your money? Because I see you have a Cash App. He might, like you said, he might be an entrepreneur. Yeah, I got a lawn service and most of my people pay me through Cash App. Like, I pay my lawn guy through Cash App, right? So I could definitely see my lawn guy having a Cash App debit card, and that's where he keeps most of his money because he doesn't want to pay taxes on it, blah, 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 blah. Whatever he wants to do. But the conversation probably needs to be had. And I don't know if that's a first date conversation or not. But I kind of agree with them looking at that like, yo, that's a flag. Now, I'm not saying it's a red flag or a green flag. What I'm saying is that's something we probably need to talk about. Because as a banker, right? I mean, when we really talk about it as a banker, underserved and underbanked communities use Cash App a lot of times. right? Like folks that can't get a traditional bank accounts because they have charge-offs or whatever. Like they can't get it, so they use Cash App. So from like for Haley, I would tell Haley, if a dude's using a Cash App card, you need to be asking questions, baby.
I think you mentioned that it's a flag. Like it's definitely like if you plan on entering a relationship with that person, it is something that you want to at least at some point talk about. It's just like how people say, someone who changes cell phone numbers a lot.
Yep.
That kind of speaks to some type of instability. Now, is it a guarantee? No. But it's like hey, what's going on? Is your phone keep getting cut off? Like, what's the problem? What's the issue? This Cash App card, it doesn't necessarily automatically speak to this person not having their finances in order or whatever. But if you're not with a real banking institution, then as far as building the future, like, where does that leave you when it comes to trying to get a house or, big purchases like that? So,
right, because you can't show income, right?
I can understand. I understand it.
Okay.
You still know.
No, because my thing is, who are you trying to date? Every other dude that she dated before never had a Cash App card, and she's still on dates. So apparently, whatever those dudes are doing ain't working either. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are you looking for in the people you're dating? There's people with black cards that go bankrupt. There's people with black cards and platinum cards that they're going to swipe that card and, excuse me, sir, for whatever reason, your card's not going through. Like, it's get to know that person, see if whatever the challenge, the journey is worth it.
Yeah.
Before you put this emphasis on these things that up to now still have not proven good measuring rods for whatever you're seeking. Right. That's what always gets me is like, you keep saying this is what I'm looking for. Well, you've been looking for that your whole life and you've been getting it and it hasn't worked. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But
if it's your first date, that should not be your concern. Did your meal get paid for? If your meal got paid for,
I hope it didn't work out, and I hope so he dodged that bullet.
So, Ferg, you don't think if she noticed it? Because again, I think you mentioned this too. I am curious how she even saw the card, but whatever. She sees the card. You don't think she should have any at all?
She could. I mean, did it go through? Did she offer to pay for the date? Like, I don't have a Cash App card.
That's a whole nother conversation.
I'm talking about, we've had conversations about going Dutch on the first date. Who pays for the first? I don't have a Cash App card, but we might have been having a discussion about who's paying for the date. She lucky he ain't even to ask who's paying for the date. Like, those are the things I'm talking about. Do we question if she had a Cash App card, should he not date her?
No, we don't.
No, because that's the thing. We don't question that for women because that's not an expectation for them.
Next question.
You want to go or me?
I'll go because I kind of.
That was a good question.
This leads me to my question. So, one thing y'all say all the time is, if you don't want to know the truth,
don't
ask for it.
And I'm about to turn over a new leaf, fellas. We hear the truth will set you free, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, but I don't know if that's right. My question now is it always best to tell the truth? Will the truth truly set you free?
I will say...
You need a little backstory?
Yeah, sure. What's the backstory in this? Yeah.
So, there's situations, like I find myself in very in-depth conversations with people all the time. And especially with women and even men who a lot of times I feel play the one-sided or the victim role. Or not even the victim role, they don't want to hear the other side of the argument. There's a lot of, and I'll just talk about women, where it's, you're telling me what men think and tell me what men want. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I talk to these single men. I'm talking to these married men that you end up dating anyway. I'm telling you what they're thinking, and you're still telling me. And we find ourselves going back and forth, and I realize that, you know what? I just wasted my time. You're no better off for this conversation. You might even be worse off because now you had to come to terms with a part of the truth that you weren't ready to accept. So does that kind of give a little bit of context?
I think so. I think like in that situation or in most situations, I think the truth should always be told. I don't know if you have to tell the truth at that instance. Like there is a thing called tact. There's a way that you deliver the message. So it's when you deliver the message, right? I was watching a video and a guy was talking about he had a friend that was an actor, and she, did a play or whatever. He went to the play. He didn't enjoy the play. And then after, she came up to him and she was all excited and she was like, how did you like the play or whatever? And what he said was that I enjoyed seeing you and I loved how you, like lit up, yada, yada, yada. He said something truthful, but he didn't give her the full truth at that moment because that wasn't the time for it. He didn't want to deflate her. He didn't want to ruin her night, blah, 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 blah. And what he said is he called her, the next day, a day after, and was like, yo, let me give you some constructive criticism. Here's what I felt maybe could change, yada, yada, yada. It's a time and a place to do things. And I think that's the same thing. People try to tell truths when we're arguing, right? And that is not going to come over like it's supposed to. I mean, so sometimes like in your situation, Ferg, where you're talking about, sometimes you got to take a time out. Sometimes you got to be like, yo, we can come back to this because it's not going to be received how I want or I intend for it to be received. So that's just having tact. That's knowing how to communicate. But I do think that truth should be truth. You shouldn't be lying just because, baby, do I look fat in this? And if you say, no, you don't look fat, but then she go out and get all kind of looks, now you messed up because you didn't tell her that she looked fat in it. If she looks fat in it, tell her. Now, again, going back to tact, you don't need to be like, but yeah, baby, you look fat. You like, I don't too much like it. It's not that flattering on you. Yada, yada, yada. There's a way to say it without saying, yes, it makes you look fat. Right. But you need to tell her that because if she goes out and it doesn't look good on her and you endorse it at the house, you in just as much trouble, bruh. So you might as well go ahead and get it out right now and let her know change. You don't like that.
Great question. I think I'm gonna have to co-sign with Razi. Always tell the truth. Use tact. I think a lot of times what some people get caught up in though is submitting their unsolicited truth at times. And then they like to categorize themselves as, well, I just speak the truth. I just say what's real. Okay. yeah, but nobody fucking asked you. So shut the fuck up. So you don't always have to speak it if you're not asked. But if you're asked, yeah, tell the truth. Try to give people the best advice. That's my politically correct answer. Now my real answer is, sometimes it's better, maybe not, I'm not saying lie, but kind of like your example, Rozzy, where the dude just kind of deflected and just found the positive in it. Do that. Because sometimes I don't feel like having a whole discussion. I'm chilling, I'm in a peaceful state. I don't want to tell you the truth, which is then going to prompt you to say, well, why? What about this? And now I got to get in this whole dissertation. I don't feel like it right now. So right now, I'm going to just give you the answer that makes you go away and leave me alone. So sometimes, hell no, I'm not telling you the truth. I'm going to tell you whatever I need to tell you to get you on about your business.
Okay. I understand that. And I try, and from a lot of times I just believe like I try not to debate with people, especially if they're not ready to receive it. But we all have daughters. Raz, you got sisters. Question comes up like, I don't know why I can't find a good man. And there's that, they start going off their dateability resume. They're talking about why they're a good catch. And you're trying to explain to them because you want to see them happy, right? You want to see them be successful in this dating world. but in their mind, they're still, this is why I'm a catch and this is why I can't find dudes and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, that's not why you can't find dudes. This is, that sounds great. That's awesome. That's a great conversation piece. That's not about to make me pick you. That's not about to make me wife you up. That means nothing to me more than, this means the same. This has the same weight as X, the other one, option. So how do you, or do you like, I don't know why you can't find a dude. If you're having a conversation, help me find some single, I need to find, hook me with some of your single friends and all something like I'm trying to tell you, this is what's going on. And I found myself in a situation similar to that. And it's just like, you know what? I think the person walked away, maybe hearing the truth, probably still not believing. It is not, maybe it's my truth and it's just another, something else to consider. Right. But it's walked away, maybe worse off because sometimes that truth hurts, right? We'd say it all the time. Truth hurts. And I thought about it and it's like, I feel like sometimes the lie needs to be believed. The lie is how you're getting by with your situation. Who am I to tell you Santa's not real? If everybody else is letting you believe Santa is real, maybe I should let you just believe Santa is real and you just go on for the rest of your life believing Santa is real. And I just really had that. So I'm really starting to like, you know what? Maybe the hurt of the truth isn't worth it.
Yeah. Cause she's going to bring up the anecdotal evidence, right? Zion got caught up. Old girl got him, right? So why can't I find me a Zion? It's that. I mean, they think those unicorns are out there and they're a unicorn. And it's I'm sorry, baby. You're not a porn star with, 3 BBLs and all of that. Like, you're not going to get him. It's just not gonna happen.
But I'm just laughing at that whole exchange.
But I mean, think about it. Her whole exchange to me was she was talking to herself and trying to believe she needed to believe the lie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole imagine she had a brother and he's like, babe, you can't be on there saying this. Like this is how you look. Yada yada yada. You lost. This and this. In her mind, she needs to believe. There's nothing here most people can tell you that's not going to make you believe the lie. And I guess sometimes people just need to believe the lie.
I will say this though, even with people like that, as long as they're just not completely shutting you down, you still can tell those type of people the truth, even if they're not quite ready to receive it or agree with you, because it can be one of those building blocks that they hear it from you and then they hear it from, because most of the time people will seek out validation. They will seek out someone that agrees with them. But if they talk to you and you give them that truth, and they talk to Razzie and they give them the same truth, and me the same truth, sometimes with some people, it'll finally sink in. You know what? Maybe I am wrong. Now, there are some stubborn people that, 10 people can tell them and it's not going to get through. But I think for a lot of people, it eventually gets through because we are naturally combative people. So whatever we believe in, a lot of times we want to hold on to it until we're ready to let go. And usually what makes us ready to let go is people that we trust telling us the opposite. And then it finally sinks in.
Man, I'm just going to let people believe in Santa, dog.
I hear you. Especially if it protects your peace, man. Let them.
Yeah. Ultimately, that's what it is.
Outside of the show, would I bring the real?
Yeah.
Outside of the show, I'm going to let people believe in Santa.
If you want
that if you like it, I love it.
Or, even when protecting your peace, you can give them that truth that one time, but you don't have to go back. It takes 2 people to argue, right? So you'd be like, well, here it is. And then she's like, but this, and this. Like, I told you what it is. That's it. I'm done. Like, you know what I'm saying? So what's Buff's line? This is a circular argument. We're going in circles right now. Let's just move on.
Yeah. Yeah, we talking in circles. Oh man. All right. So I said my question was a little political. So last week, maybe a little over a week ago, Chicago passed an amendment to approve $51 million for asylum seekers and migrants that Ferg State has been sending to their city over the past couple of years. And people showed up a little pissed off about that. They was like, oh, you got 51 million for these migrants and asylum seekers, but we already got homeless people in the city and y'all ain't did shit for them. So people were up in arms about that. I want to know, because, you know, our Statue of Liberty, it has this poem on it, and, you know, a couple of the lines that people like to quote is, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Are you guys America first, where we should take care of our own first? Even though I'm talking about a city, but in general, do you feel like you feel like Chicago should take care of their own? Should America take care of their own before they take care of, you know, people that cross the border, migrants, asylum seekers, and people like that?
I think it's balance. I think it's the thing that I would say the three of us probably do in our daily lives. Sometimes you vote or do things that might not be in your best interest because you know that this is going to help somebody else more than you need it. The $5 you give to the homeless guy, you know, like that means more to this person. But at the same time, you still got to take care of yourself. In America, the way I see America is because we're so lopsided on both sides, the wealthy and the poor. It's like we have money to do more stuff for us and others. I mean, we spend so much money on national defense is a whole nother thing. But I mean, some of these programs that, you know, to have homeless, I feel like SPCA and all some of these animal things get more money and have more funding than helping the homeless. Like, I feel like there's so much more money going to things that, not saying that aren't important, but like, could this money be used somewhere else? Could we decrease homelessness? You know, are there things that we could help that benefit everybody? I just feel like it's a balance. It's not all or nothing. It's not America first and then screw everybody else. What is it? God bless America and no place else. Especially if this is what America was truly founded on. But, you know, that's not what America was truly founded on. It sounds good when everybody looks alike. It's a whole nother subject. Yeah.
America was definitely founded on America first and screw everybody else. But I kind of agree. We're the richest nation in the world by a long shot. And so to say we have to worry about homelessness before we worry about migrants and immigrants and refugees and everything like that. I've been broken, had nothing in the bank, and gave that little $1 at CVS for the little red nose thing before, right? Like I've had no money and given to the $5 to the homeless guy, and that might have been my last $5, or I don't have anything extra in the bank. I mean, we can do it all. We can at this point. I think it really comes down to what are our priorities and making sure that we are doing something to take care of the homelessness. We're trying to address it. And a lot of it is we try to treat the symptoms instead of the causes for the most part. And so even though we're spending money on homelessness and putting up short-term housing and shelters and everything like that, we're not investing as much into mental health, veterans affairs. We're not looking at, you know, what are the reasons for this homelessness? Like some of those folks, you know, we can say, oh, there's homeless people out there, but there are a lot of people that want to be homeless, and not to say they want to be in their head like, oh, I like doing it. It's like they can't get clean and they end up back on the street, right? Like there's plenty of people helping them. There's been plenty of opportunities, but they're just kind of end up back on the street constantly. It's like, so you're gonna have that. It's not gonna be this thing where we never have any homelessness going on, right? I mean, we'd be in a utopia if that happened. Only time we're gonna have that is when everybody has a home that they don't pay for. Because again, I work really, really hard, and I'm not going to pay those extra taxes to be putting up those homeless shelters and everything else for everybody, and then I still got to pay for my stuff. So I mean, the capitalist in me is still kind of like, I'm not 100% on that socialist train either. So I think we have to find that balance. We're always going to have to find that balance. But no, I don't think it's America first and screw the immigrants. Because a lot of times, those folks come over here and they make America better. They're the ones that make America great. Like that, us being able to help them and us being able to bring in those tired huddle masses and them coming in and the work that they put in. I mean, you talk about Florida and how they're pushing all those immigrants out and all those illegals out. And now they have food riding on the vines right now because they don't have anybody that can pick it. That's literally happening. So those folks coming over there, they work, they do what they can to help America grow. That's that low, very, very low income, jobs and stuff like that is happening and it's being filled by those folks. So, I mean, we need them just as much as they need us.
And real quick, I think Americans also, we're fortunate enough, we're spoiled. It's like until you go, the average American probably never travel outside of America. If they do, they usually go to nice resorts and places that people have. In Mexico, the Mexico you see at the resort is not the Mexico these people are running from. You can go to a nice resort in Jamaica. That's not what all of Jamaica looks like. Razi and I have been fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to go to war-torn countries and see what real poverty and real desolation looks like. Those are the things that humble me to dog, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. Not trying to belittle our poor, our hungry, our tired, our homeless, but we're okay. We're okay.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that with the what an actual refugee and a political refugee is very different than what people try to paint it out to be. Like when you're like, if I stay here, I might die, or my kids might die. We might get kidnapped. My daughter's gonna get raped if we stay here. So yes, we came to America. We're seeking asylum because of that. That's real, right? I remember when if it was Syria or one of the countries where we were taking in people, or maybe I can't remember what country. I think it was Syria.
I think it was Syria, yeah.
There was this huge uproar about, we shouldn't be taking them in. I'm like, if you only knew what it meant when they say, hey, we got to get out of this country right now or we're going to die. It is real. It really is real.
I had this debate one time with somebody. I'm glad you brought this up. And I'm like, we have people moving to the suburbs because too many black people are moving into the inner city. There was a white flight because there was too many blacks. Ain't no bombs, ain't nothing. We're talking about just relocating, taking your kids out of the school because it's too, it looks too ethnic because you don't feel safe enough. And we're talking about people who are being rocketed, who are being, executed, extortion, like the fact that your kids may be taken from you. And, we're talking about your daughter might be raped. Your son might be taken from you and forced to join some military organization, some guerrilla organization. And you're telling me you would not leave and hope that there's enough humanity out there to give you some kind of assistance? Because a lot of these political refugees are just like us. It's not, I don't know why they just assume that these people are poor and all this stuff. It's just, think about it. If we had to leave America and you had to go someplace outside of America, where would you go? Mm-hmm. Who do you know? Oh man, my whole family has to leave America. America had to just pick up and go. Where the hell would you go? Razi, you might have some family in Sicily that might take y'all in. We're stuck. I don't know where we're going. So
yeah.
So I like the balance part of y'all answers, but I will say For me, it is America first, but it shouldn't be America only. Like, you know, in the case of Chicago, they should be taking care of their homeless and then finding a way to take care of, because you call yourselves a sanctuary city. So that means you welcome migrants, you welcome asylum seekers. So take care of them as well. But for the people that were protesting at this hearing, my question to them is, have you been speaking out about the homelessness before this passed? Because if not, then you're just you're doing exactly what other people do when they bring up, you know, black on black crime or crime statistics, and they use Chicago as the whipping boy and all that stuff. Like you're raising hell because of this. You don't really care about homelessness. You're just using it to combat this 51 million that's been passed for them. The truth of the matter is, we don't care about homeless. Matter of fact, we don't even look at homeless people as people. They're either an eyesore in tourist spots that we want removed, or they're committing petty crimes and things like that to where we need to do something about it. They don't vote, so politicians don't really care about them, and most citizens don't care about them, other than they want them removed from whatever restaurant they want to go to or tourist place they want to go to, or their neighborhood in the cases of San Francisco and LA. So nobody really cares about these people because nobody even looks at them as people. So for these people to go and raise all this concern about homeless people, I need to see receipts on them doing this long before this 51 million was passed. Otherwise, I got to call cap on their whole argument.
Facts. Oh, we sound so hip. Facts. Period, as Haley would say.
Oh, no. But man, yeah, that's all I got, man. They was heated too. They was like the police had to break up some people. You know, they was getting pissed.
I mean, and sometimes your natural reaction, I get it, the natural reaction, but then sometimes you have to sit back and think about it. You know, it doesn't sound good, but then you're just like, yeah, I get it. Where else can it go? What else is going to happen? You know, your self-preservation is just, it's a human trait. But then after you sit down and you're like, okay, how's this really going to change my world, my life? For most of them, they won't even know the impact. They won't see the impact. With that being said, fellas, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let's do our closing shot. Pardon shots, excuse me.
So good, so good, so good.
Get ready, because it's time to save at your Nordstrom Rack store. Now through February 23rd, take an extra 40% off red tag clearance boots, jackets, and sweaters. We're talking the best cold weather styles from Vince, Cole Haan, Sam Edelman, and more. All on sale for even less. All sales final. You never know what you'll find, but you know it's gonna be so good. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
This episode is brought to you by Nerds Gummy Clusters, the sweet treat that always elevates the vibe. With a sweet gummy surrounded with tangy, crunchy nerds, every bite of Nerds Gummy Clusters brings you a whole new world of flavor. Whether it's game night, on the way to a concert, or kicking back with your crew, unleash your senses with Nerds Gummy Clusters.
Only thing I got, man, is again, thoughts and prayers. We got to throw it out there. Once again, we had a young man and his father die in a mass shooting incident, but only two people died, him and his father, right after graduation. And going back to media, I like how people are actually starting on social media saying that, hey, we want to only share the graduation picture, right? Because initially it was kind of, they were thinking it might have been gang related or whatever. The guy was having beef with the other guy, and so that's why, you know, the shooter came and shot up the place after graduation or whatever. And people are like, it doesn't really matter, right? Let's not try to defile the kid's memory. The kid he worked through high school, he graduated. It was a proud moment for him. You never know, that kid might have been on the right path, getting on the right path just by this graduation thing. And his life was cut short based on that. So, you know, let's do what we should be doing and let him be a victim because he was a victim, no matter what his history was in that situation. And the shooter is the shooter, and he's the negative party in it. So thoughts and prayers out to them, and people, like we always say, just go hug your babies, hug them, love them.
You know, that's the last place I can think of that I naively thought would be safe. You know, graduation is supposed to be a happy moment. We already know elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, colleges are not safe. We know funerals are not safe. We know shopping malls, grocery stores, churches, none of those are safe. So this right here just took out the last, like I say, naively. That's
crazy.
You know,
you're right. There's no. It's like safe haven bingo.
Yeah.
It's like where should I be safe? Okay, hospitals, name it. Every place has been. I think this is the first graduation shooting I've heard.
Yeah. So
usually it's like the after party, right? The graduation after party might have a shooting, but the actual graduation is rare.
It's terrible, man. I got a few things. Ferg mentioned Inspire You at the top of the show. I just want to shout out them again. Inspire You on air. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you tell people to download the app for free. Check us out every Monday, 10 p.m. Central, 11 Eastern. I want to give a shout out to my daughter, Jasmine, who is getting ready to graduate from the 8th grade, but this week she received an award for her art. So I'm extremely proud of her. It was an invitation only award ceremony too. So it's not like all the 8th graders and 7th, like it was only by invitation. You know what I mean? So I was very, very, very proud of her, man. Father's Day is coming up, ladies. And once again, I'm seeing too many of y'all make those posts. Fellas, what's a good gift for Father's Day? You act like it's so difficult to shop for men. Yet all year I hear y'all say how easy it is to please men. But apparently when it comes to buying us gifts for Father's Day, y'all out of ideas. Let's get it together, ladies. And
it's pleasing on a budget, bro.
And the last thing I got, and I won't go into too many details because I don't want to be messy, but I'm gonna just say, Mobile, get it together. The post I've seen this week with chefs and restaurants, come on, man. Let's get it together, man. Let's do better.
So, two things. First of all, I want to kind of go back to what Rozzy was saying, and the young gentleman's name was there was a high school senior in Virginia, Huguenot High School. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. If not, I apologize. Sean Jackson, 18, and his father, Renzo Smith, 36, were gone down. Like Rozzy said, it was some kids who knew each other, and it was a targeted attack. He shot into the crowd, went to the graduation, shot into the crowd, and went to the graduation, went to his car, came back, and shot the guy and his dad, shot into the crowd. Several people were injured. I think 5 or 6 were injured. Even the 9-year-old daughter or sister, got injured running. I think she got hit by a car or something like that. It's just crazy. And it's just, once again, completes the safe haven bingo. But with that being said, I wanted to, I want to give a shout out to my line brother Donovan, who did multiple articles in the Charleston Grit, one of which is called The Beauty of Friendship. He also has one called The Beauty of Friendship in Pictures, where he tackles life, loss, love, and the value of friends in a moving tribute to our fraternity brother and line brother passing away. So I just shared that with you guys. One of the quotes they took away was, a quintessential 17, a unified body of men brought together by fraternity and bonded through friendship, was now a single body with only 16 moving parts. And it talks about the loss. It talks about our friendship, the loss of our line brother, and the journey we went through together up until his service and our time in Detroit together. So he has that article, beautifully written. It tackles a lot of the tough subjects we've dealt with each other and him, and how we've been a part of each other's lives. And I will share that article, and hopefully Rise Again posted that in the related article with the pictures that we shared that weekend. So once again, shout out to my line brother Donovan Snipe. Beautiful article. I was proud and almost brought to tears when reading it. Just very touching. So with that being said, Three Brothers No Sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.